I steal cigarettes from my grandma with dementia and lung cancer and let her memory loss take the blame for the disappeared cartons. My family and I would visit my dad's mother twice a year, and I started stealing packs of cigarettes from her 5 case cartons of cheap-ass Pall Mall Blues since I was 12 and take them back home and smoke them with friends at the park next to our school. This was before the dementia set in. When I was 16, my grandma was diagnosed with lung cancer after smoking 2 to 3 packs a day for the past 60-ish years. She's 75 years old but looks 95, being bound in a wheelchair with only tufts of hair left, yellow skin, wrinkles galore, and a completely gaunt face. She stayed in the hospital for about a month after being diagnosed and would often defecate herself in the hospital bed and not realize it, and when she would try to get out of her to go to the bathroom, she would refuse to use the walker beside her, which would often result in her falling while walking. The nurses would report to us how she would yell and curse at them, demanding her cigarettes, which she wasn't allowed to smoke as she was in the hospital with lung cancer caused by said cigarettes. After the hospital, my dad decided to move her into our house as we were the closest to her. Her dementia and overall status was wretched. She would ask where her husband is after he's been deceased for the past 50-ish years. She tried running away a few times and take the car out for a drive, and we now have several singed carpet spots from her dropping lit cigarettes. She doesn't know who I am nor my sister, and she often calls my dad David, who was her younger brother. She doesn't always recognize or remember that she's talking to her own son. My dad still let her smoke, but limited her to only a few smokes a day as he was tired of dealing with her screaming fits, and he knows his mother has been smoking since she had him. I don't think she knew or remembered she had cancer most of the time, so she continued her daily smokes with business as usual. My dad kept her cheap Pall Mall Blues in the kitchen, down the hall from the guest room where she was, and I would always take a pack or two from her 5-pack carton. He would notice that there were less smokes than before, and he would try asking my grandma how many cigarettes she smoked that day, but she never remembered, and I would always hear him on calls with his brother and him complaining to my mom about how my grandma is sneaky and chain smoking the hidden packs behind our backs and making her condition worse. I would hear him yell at her and all of us out of frustration with watching his mother kill herself in front of him. He would ask my sister and I if we ever saw her smoking more than she was allowed, and I always denied, as I would take a pack in the morning before school and let it be gone all afternoon with going to school as my alibi. My grandma really looked like shit, and it was so gut-wrenching watching her not remember her own sons and be completely oblivious to what was going on around her. I'd be lying if I didn't think about the condition of that old woman every time I took a pack from her stash and lit one of those cigarettes. I always have the thought of lung cancer in the back of my head and me being 70 years old with stained teeth and skin, but I still stole from her for the 2 years she lived with us. I'm 20 now, and my grandma has moved into my dad's brother's home as they all want to share some of her last years between them, even if she is incredibly difficult to deal with. Safe to say I haven't touched a pack of cigarettes since she moved out when I was 18. Unfortunately, I occasionally bum one stoge off of somebody at a party, but I have never let myself buy a pack. I never bought a pack of them before, and it was clear I had a problem, and I didn't want to accompany that problem with a financial debt as well.